My wife once looked me right in the eyes and told me she should have married her old boyfriend instead of me. I did not try to fight her on it. I did not start a big argument or raise my voice. I simply found his phone number, handed it to her, and walked out the door. It all began on a very regular Sunday morning. It was the kind of day where nothing felt out of the ordinary at all. We had warm coffee steaming in our favorite mugs. Mine was the blue one with the chipped handle, and hers was the white one with the little flower on the side. There was soft, quiet music humming from her phone in the background. You could smell the light and fresh scent of clothes that had just been washed. We were standing there together, folding the laundry. It was a sort of calm, domestic moment that usually makes you feel very safe and comfortable. That was the exact moment she said it, speaking as if she were just mentioning the daily weather. She said, "Sometimes I think I should have ended up with Caleb instead." I did not even catch what she meant right away. I actually waited a few seconds for her to start laughing. I thought maybe she would show me that little half smile that usually told me she was just teasing me. But that smile never came. She just kept folding a white towel with her eyes focused downward. Her tone was very casual, like she was just thinking out loud to herself. I looked at her, feeling completely stunned. I asked her, "What did you just say?" She did not flinch or look away. She met my eyes and said, "I just think maybe things would have been easier." She told me that Caleb always made her feel like she was truly seen. She said he always had big ambition and big dreams for the future. She said he never would have settled for a quiet life like this. And she gestured around at our home in Eugene, Oregon. She was talking about our life, the quiet little world we had built with so much effort, sacrifice, and time. I did not say a single thing back to her. I just stared as something deep inside my chest started to tighten. It felt like it was coiling so hard that it actually hurt. I walked away and went downstairs. I told myself I was probably overreacting to a small comment. I tried to believe that I had misheard her or just misunderstood what she meant. But she did not follow me down those stairs. She never came to clear things up or say that her words had come out the wrong way. She said nothing at all. That night, I stayed on the couch. It was not because she asked me to, but because the space between us suddenly felt way too wide to ignore. I lay there thinking about Caleb. I wondered how often she'd been measuring me against him without ever saying a single word. Caleb was the guy from her college years. He was a golden boy with a charming grin and a lot of big promises that never actually lasted. He vanished right after graduation, leaving her without any warning to go take a job overseas. She had cried in my arms back then, feeling completely devastated and lost. And yet, many years later, in the middle of folding our laundry, she told me she might have chosen him if she had the chance. After that day, something inside of me shifted. I stopped talking as much as I used to. I started staying much longer at my work, even when I did not have much to do. Sometimes I would sit in the driveway with the car engine still running. I felt like I needed those few extra minutes just to put on a mask before I walked through the front door. She noticed, of course. She asked me if something was wrong. I would just shrug and say everything was fine, but it really was not. I was pulling away piece by piece. I was not doing it with shouting or big arguments, but by sealing myself off from her. I stopped opening up. I stopped sharing the small, tiny details of my daily life. I did not laugh as much, and after a while, neither did she. Eventually, even our dinners together became quiet and felt like a mechanical routine. We looked like two strangers eating at the same table. I could not stop picturing Caleb. This ghost from 10 years ago was suddenly looming very large between us. I felt smaller whenever I was next to him, even though he was not actually there. Then came the night. She came home very late. It was hours past dinner time. There was no message and no heads up. When she finally walked in around 10 o'clock, she looked unsettled and nervous. She said she had met an old friend for some drinks. She did not say his name, but she did not need to. Was it him? I asked. She just nodded. I did not say anything more. I just quietly went and packed a small bag with my essentials. I did not do it because I was angry, but because I had nothing left to give her. I told her, "Maybe you need to figure out what you really want." She looked like she wanted to reply, but I stopped her. I said, I am not angry. I am just tired. And then I left. There was no fight and no big scene. There was just silence. I stayed with a friend for a while before I found a temporary place of my own in Bend, Oregon. It was a small apartment, but it was mine. She called me a few times. She sent one message trying to explain things. She said she did not mean it the way it sounded. I did not answer her, and in the quiet that followed, something surprising happened. I started to feel lighter. I was lonely, yes, but I felt free for the first time in a long time. I started waking up early again. I started going for runs in the crisp air and cooking my own food. I started remembering exactly who I was before I changed myself to fit into someone else's life. I saw clearly how much I had compromised. I saw how long I had been trying to be enough for someone who always kept one eye on the horizon, wondering what else might be out there. Months passed by slowly. I filed for separation. There was no bitterness and no drama, just a need for space. Then one day, she unexpectedly came to my door in Bend. She looked different. She looked tired, like someone who had spent a lot of time thinking and not sleeping. She said she saw him again. She saw Caleb. They did not even speak to each other. They just passed each other on the street. She said he had not changed. He was still smooth and still chasing shiny dreams that he could never quite catch. Then she looked at me with eyes full of tears and sadness. She said, I was wrong. I thought I wanted adventure. I wanted to feel wanted. But what we had was real. You showed up. You stayed. And I broke that. I believed her. I really did. But sometimes realization arrives too late. Because when someone finally understands what you are worth, you've already learned how to live without needing them to tell you. I did not hate her. I could not. But I was not the man who stood in that kitchen months ago, feeling wounded and waiting. I had changed. I did not want to return to being a person who kept trying to earn someone's love. So I told her, I am glad you understand now, but I am not coming back. She sank down to her knees at the doorstep, sobbing. I did not shut the door because I was mad. I closed it with a strange sense of calm, almost gently. For the first time, I was not clinging to anything. I was choosing peace of the version of myself who had finally stopped begging to be seen.